Folks, don't forget that you make this radio/TV show possible. You make the films possible, the news websites, and plus the books and videos are what are waking people up. And the population is now ready to be awakened. Get Don't Tread on Me about 10th Amendment, states' rights, democracy versus republic. Where were you in the Second American Revolution to restore freedom? That's what Don't Tread on Me, available on DVD at Infowars.com covers. PrisonPlanet.tv members can also watch that film. Invisible Empire, New World Order Defined. Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA. And by the way, in Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA, we went to Hardin, Montana. And I duck into one of the offices when they gave us a little fake tour, and it had the big maps, the blueprints saying Alien Detention Center. Remember, they had said it was going to be a FEMA camp on CNN. Then they denied that. And they had a DNA testing room in there. When I ducked in, I'd flip the camera on, duck in because they wouldn't let me get in. That's been being posted on YouTube right now. It's going to be posted in with this article with the info Steve Quayle and others gave us. But I want to be specific here, ladies and gentlemen. Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA covers all of the developments that are taking place. Everyone needs to see this. When they're taking blood under federal grants at checkpoints all over the country, and when they're announcing they're going to arrest citizens without any due process, that is martial law. It's what increment of martial law are we under? So we also do need to have your support out there. 888-253-3139 is the toll-free number to call and get books and videos or ask about different combos and specials. 888-253-3139. Or you can see all my films in super high quality and other great films we've been authorized to post at PrisonPlanet.tv, like Camp FEMA. That's going up there this week at PrisonPlanet.tv, not just Don't Tread on Me. And you can also visit Infowars.com and get the books, videos, materials, because this is a big nut to crack every month to fund this operation. But we've been able to do what we've done because of your financial support. So I want to thank all of you for your support. Be sure and get the books and videos and materials. You may already know everything, but your friends and family don't. So see it as a donation. Buy the books, buy the videos, then give them to friends and family. You can make copies of all my films. Get them out to everybody. We just want to stop what's happening. Look at how things get crazier and crazier and crazier by the minute. And I want to talk about the bigger geopolitical situation with Steve Quayle here with us now. But, Steve, give folks your website.
My website is stevequayle.com, QUAYLE.com. And, Alex, just since we've been on the air together, a guy that's worked on these just sent me an email saying, I've worked on about 6 of these rooms across the state. They use them to keep anonymity of the people working in them. We had to have a 10-year background check, including full fingerprints and a 30-page form. I've worked in many other post offices and federal buildings without any background work. The head of the project was a 20-year veteran of the CIA. I'm not lying. So, interesting, because, again, now you've got domestic intelligence being turned internally. We've got the biggest wars potential being, let's say, coming to a focus, and every effort that can be made to ultimately make war against the American people, imprison and torture the American people, and it's all going on under the guise of, domestic security. I've got to tell you, Alex, that what we're talking about, we're hitting a nerve. Now, also, something that your listeners need to know, in real time, frequency alerts are up on HF radio frequencies for all the American troops on the Korean Peninsula. The stories coming out on the newswire.
No. They admit we may have nuclear war. They admit we're in a war footing. North Korea could strike. If North Korea does one thing, including bringing their ships into South Korean waters, South Korea is going to attack. We could see the start of World War III. And notice how this is happening right on time with the banking collapse.
Absolutely. And what I didn't get a chance to finish that's really critical is he said, Steve, as an MBC instructor for American troops in the area, I can tell you there are more tactical nukes in the area than you can shake a stick at. So when you said World War III, Alex, that's exactly it. Now, look, here's the deal. The banking crisis is worldwide. They have to take down, the Luciferians, the Illuminati, the globalists have to take down the entire banking system of the world. And they are caught literally with nothing in their vaults. And so the point is that a war is wonderful. The old statement that a banker makes more in one day of war than a year of peace still becomes true. Because remember, whoever's going to shoot at whoever else when it all breaks loose, somebody's paying for the bombs, bullets, as Gerald Celente says. You know, it's the bankers, it's the bombs, and it's the bullets.
Well, I agree with you. Now, this could be averted. This could be averted, but Gerald Celente, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, Webster Tarpley, yourself, every expert we have on, and the RAND Corporation agrees, they said this 2 years ago, the only way to get their world government, the only way to get the people to stand down and go along with the tyranny is to launch a major war. And what did the RAND Corporation say in 2008? Paul Watson wrote an article about this. They said a theater war like Iraq isn't big enough. Iran isn't big enough. It needs to be as big as World War II. Where is the only place to kick that off? Well, to be as big as World War II, it's got to be in two different areas at least. A perfect place to start, Iran and North Korea. But here's my issue. We know the Ayatollah Khomeini was brought into power by the West because the Shah wasn't doing what he was told. That's actually on record. They had the arms for hostage situation. Then the Ayatollahs, the imams, backstabbed the globalist, at least on the surface. We know nukes were given to Pakistan by Israel, the U.S., and England. That's on record. Also, it just came out that Israel was giving them to South Africa. Why? To destabilize things. And we know that ABB and Rumsfeld in 96 and then again in 2000 gave the nukes to North Korea. What is the master geopolitical strategy in that?
Well, the master geopolitical strategy is simply they are going to initiate a global conflagration. It's going to be billed as the Battle of Armageddon, and it's not not to be confused with the biblical Battle of Armageddon. And they're going to bring about their solution to the war. Look, these guys are just the perfect dialectic demons, okay? They're generating the problem, they're going to provide their solution, and the solution's going to be that, quite candidly, that 5.5 billion people, if they have their way, and they're not going to have their way, but if they had their way, they'd like to see 90% of the world's population destroyed. Now, Alex, if you mix into this the whole situation in the Gulf, why is it that oil platform seemingly the stories, even the guys that worked on it, you know, I think you covered this, are sequestered? Why is it that the original stories were SWAT teams, and by the way, those weren't SWAT teams, those were special operations teams that were put on different Gulf platforms? Why is it that all this stuff seemingly happened within the last 14 days, if you will, 21 days, and the deal is that it all was almost synchronized and coordinated perfectly as if someone flipped on the switch? My answer to that is someone did flip on the switch. The banking problem is so severe that, in essence, I'll sum it up like this. Every nation in the world is flat ass and flat out broke. The derivatives problem, which we've talked about for a decade and a half, you've talked about, all of the different experts you've interviewed, the guys I've interviewed, they're all saying the same thing. But as long as the band plays on, the TV stays on, and the inane becomes the expected, people are not going to be thinking. And so now every single thing is converging. Every single thing that's been warned about, the police state tactics, the FEMA camps, the torture centers, everything. And, you know, it's amazing because when even, quote, good, seemingly moral people said, yeah, it's all right to torture, I said, how dare you say that? Do you not understand the case that everything's being done overseas is going to come back on your shore, on our shore? And I tell you, Alex, shame on America, shame on its politicians for not speaking out against torture. Because the bottom line is, when I hear and when I see the documents you're seeing and I hear the reports you're hearing, we hear different reports, similar reports, it makes me furious.